Good evening. We'll get the regularly scheduled Mandan Park District meeting. I'll call that to order. Today is April 14th, 2025. Any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Nope.
Okay. Move on to public communication from visitors. We do have visitors here tonight. I think you're on the agenda. Is that correct? Okay, we'll hear from you. Anybody else would like to speak from the public? Is he with you guys? Oh, okay. All right. Do you want to speak on anything? Okay. All right. We'll move on. Moving on to the approval of March 10th, 2025 regular meeting minutes. If we could have approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Melhoff.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Scott. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. All right, moving on right into item 1. Consider offering supplementary benefits for full-time employees upon hire date. Cole?
President Meske and Commissioners, it's my honor to introduce our new Human Resource Generalist, Tyra Ripple. Have you guys known her before? She managed our facility supervisor for our water park, Raging Rivers. Went back and got her master's. We created a new position with some changes that we had in the accounting department with Terry, and it allowed us to be able to create a new HR position that will handle all the payroll, onboarding for all of our employees, hopefully take some responsibilities off of our managers who do a lot of that paperwork, and we're excited about this opportunity. With that, we have our first handbook policy change, so we thought, why not get her feet wet and jump in right away? So, Tyra, here you go.
Welcome, Tyra.
All right, President Meske and Commissioners, I'm excited to be here, and I'm really excited about this position. So I'm here to request approval for the removal of the current 6-month waiting period that we have in place for full-time employees to enroll in supplemental insurance. Currently, employees must wait 6 months from their start date before they can elect supplemental benefits at this point. These benefits are entirely employee funded, so there would be no fiscal impact to the Park District. Our recommendation is a motion to approve the removal of the 6-month waiting period. Does anyone have any questions on this recommendation?
This seems like a no-brainer kind of, but is there any reason why we wouldn't want to do that, Tyra?
Not that I can think of. After discussion, we found that there's likely previously an elective supplemental insurance that maybe did have a fiscal impact. So that was probably why it was in place. So I can't see any reason why we wouldn't move forward.
Okay, so everything we offer here is employee funded. Okay.
Yes.
President Meske and Commissioners, we used to have what's called flex medical spending, and now we went to an HSA, and we're assuming that's why we had that, because we wouldn't allow new hires they had to wait their 6-month probationary period. But the dental and vision, we're not sure why we didn't, so it's a good move for all of our new hires.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Board's wishes.
I'll move to approve the removal of the 6-month waiting period for full-time employees to elect supplemental insurance benefits at their own risk.
Motion by Commissioner Mutter.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Freilich. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Thanks, Tyra. All right, moving on to item 2. Consider 4-H club approval to add pollinator gardens.
Evening, Commissioners. One thing, it's the Girl Scout group that is presenting tonight. Nicole Gustafson approached me about planting pollinator gardens within Mandan. We identified 2 locations. There is the flower garden where you come in between baseball and softball, and then the one at Legion Park. Currently, we have perennial daylilies in there right now, and it gets weeded. Those flower year to year. But the Girl Scout troop here would like to, our Girl Scout group would like to plant them into pollinator gardens. So to present, I will bring up Danica and Victoria to present.
Welcome, ladies.
Hi. Hello, we're Tori and Danica from Girl Scout Troop 83065. We came today to talk to you about our plan to build pollinator gardens at Mandan Ballfield welcome signs for our Silver Award project this summer. A Silver Award is the second highest award you can earn in Girl Scouts and is only open for cadets, also known as middle schoolers, to achieve. To earn this award, you must spend 50 hours solving a problem in your community, and your solution must have a lasting impact on the world.
A pollinator garden is a garden that attracts different pollinators like butterflies and honeybees. These pollinators are very important for supporting healthy ecosystems and providing homes for insects and plants. We went to the garden and took measurements and planned out where certain plants would go. We looked at different flowers that pollinators love. We also are planning a meeting with a garden professional to learn about best plants to install. We will be planting this garden this June. Thank you so much for supporting this silver award. Does anyone have any questions for us?
I have a question, but I actually, this is very important. I think this is, you guys, this is needed in this community. But I want to make sure that we got to be careful, because I am on an NDSU extension, and they talked about some pollinator in a neighborhood, and they had a bee problem. And can you guys do me a favor and ask the NDSU extension about if there's any problems as far as bees being that close to a baseball field or near at Legion Park or anything like that. That's the only thing I ask you guys to do. Other than that, I'm all for it. So, okay? Thank you.
Yeah.
Kelsey Tackert. Thank you, yes.
Thank you, ladies. So I thought about that same thing. I actually Googled pollinator gardens just to see about that same. I would assume it attracts the bees away from there. I guess that's kind of how we set up our bee traps around the campus at the school. Not by the doors, but away from the doors, and it seems to work a lot better. So hopefully that would be a concern, obviously, but I think it'll look beautiful. I saw a few pictures on Google, and if they're half as nice as those, it'll be beautiful. So, Dustin, do you have something to add?
No, and we've had this request a couple times for pollinator gardens, up at Kautzman Park and then down at the community gardens, and both locations are not near the diamonds. They're out the front, and they're going to attract butterflies and honeybees, not your nuisance wasps and stuff like that. So, okay, and we've got pictures of the girls here working at the gardens and measuring and stuff, so we can put that out there. But yeah, we've had this request a few times, and I think this is a good project for everybody.
Good.
We need to make a motion?
No, I don't think so. Could be coincidence, could be divine intervention, I don't know, but my grandkids discovered the Bee movie last night, and they watched it for the first time, and they're watching it again right now as I left. So, I think it was meant to be. So, thank you for coming tonight, and good luck with the project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It is. They've never seen it before. All right, let's move on to item number 3, update on Prairie West Maintenance Building. Cole?
President Meske and Commissioners, we had a portfolio meeting last Thursday. Yeah, so we got a lot of the cost estimates. The original process was for us to bring our architect, Brett Dunnett from EAPC, to come and present the statistical numbers and ask for approval to proceed. Once we saw the numbers, we were a little gun shy to be able to proceed with that. In your packet, there is a summary from EAPC that brings the numbers right around $4 million. If you remember back in 24, when we started this discussion, we were thinking we're about $2.5 million. And we started with a project on south, hole number 6, south on the road. Then we moved it up to the clubhouse, or excuse me, to the existing maintenance building and expand to the east. That was the original plan. As we've kind of progressed and you see some of these cost estimates, numbers have just continued to grow. A few issues that we ran into on both sites is that they are in the floodplain. So obviously you got to bring in fill and engineered material to get it out of the floodplain. At the expansion of the existing maintenance building, the utilities underground all have to be relocated because they're right where we would expand. We can't go south, we can't go north, so we had to go east, and unfortunately would require us to move a lot of underground utilities. After that, we started looking at a lot of the costs associated with some of the alternates regarding cart path restoration, which we do have to move forward with cart paths. They got damaged when we did the whole 11 and 12 renovation. But what we're here today is kind of to pivot. And I'll let Commissioner Scott kind of talk about our discussions at a portfolio meeting here, and I'll just pause for a moment.
So obviously, once we picked ourselves up off the floor from the shock, we just thought through this and we're just going, it's not fiscally responsible to be spending $4 million when you were expecting a 2.5. The cool thing about the group that we have, Garrett and his staff, and they're all very reasonable people. And they said, it's not worth it to us to spend $4 million on this project when we can do a lot of other good things for a lot less. So the decision was made to just kind of stick with the current building and try to upgrade the current building, maybe add a few things that are of less cost, but remodel a little bit in the current mechanic area and the shop area, and then be able to use the new Parks building down with Dustin to do some of the oil changes where we need a lift and stuff like that. It just the impact was bad financially. So we had $975,000 in cash that we were going to put into that, but now we can do some upgrades to the buildings. We'll probably have to add another smaller lift for some of the mower oil changes and things like that. But I think we'll be in that probably 975 to maybe 1.25 million potentially, and still have a nice improvement to the facility, but not be spending money that we don't have. That's about it, Cole.
Perfect. Yeah, so to continue on this discussion, as you mentioned, there's $966,500 of vision fund dollars that we'd set aside. There is $150,000 that's scheduled to be transferred this year out of the operations, so it brings us a little over $1.1 million. If numbers come back, the idea would be is that, and Gary's working on these numbers as we speak, taking a lot of the information that we receive, we still would have to extend our contract with EAPC because we are over the $250,000 bid limit for the renovations to the building. We just wouldn't do as many amenities, again, adding on the 3,800 square foot building. To put it in perspective, we built Dustin's shop in 22 and finished in 23. That was a 10,000 square foot building, 16-foot metal building with 16-foot sidewalls for $3.1 million, all in with costs. This one's $4 million for 3,800 square foot expansion along with renovations to the existing building. And there are some exterior work, like I mentioned, the utilities, obviously the multi-purpose trail that's out, the cart path out front of there. We talked about replacing our section of our parking lot that's going to get damaged during construction. And that's a whole other component, what we're bringing forward later on an agenda item. So the recommendation here tonight is to not proceed with the bidding. We have not gone to the construction docs in final design, so we're not into that too much. We do have some engineering fees that we paid to year to date, but not near to the extent that we would want to go proceed in bids. That is an option if the board would like to, is let's see what the bids come back at, but we will be into it, engineering fees and design costs, if you choose to go that route. Our recommendation is to not move forward with bidding process and pivot basically and allow Garrett to come back next month if he's ready and come up with a proposal of how he would like to see that $1.1 million of improvements. And again, some of it would include renovating his existing building.
And within a day or so of when the three of us met, Garrett had already had some good ideas coming over his desk from the employees of what they thought they could do to make it a great improvement but not have the cost.
So Commissioner Scott, was there any talk about where the carts are stored now, doing anything and renovating that? I know we've always talked about if we ever do electric carts, things like that. Was there talk about that? Maybe not right away, but down the road?
Yep. Actually, there was talk about doing something as far
Utilizing
as
that
maybe
space.
improving the visual aspect, improving the look of the rugged fence that might be surrounding the carts and improving that. There really wasn't much talk about the changeover to electric carts because I think it would be important to stay put on that for a little bit while we just got new carts in. So we'll be there for a little bit. But no talk was discussed about the electric carts, but definitely improving the view, the visual aspect of the cart corral or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, so in that original bid included relocating all of the cart storage, and it had conduits and enough panel space to add on electrical carts. So that process was discussed. Since we're pivoting, the idea would be is to replace the existing fence, pour concrete where it's at here today, get water and electric over there, and that way then we're ready for the future. The concern will be, do we have to put some kind of covered canopy if we're ever going to do electric down the road? We do have a 4-year lease with our current carts, so we can at least make those plans for conduit underneath the trail, or excuse me, the cart path over there. But we do want to be able to clean the carts and obviously do any type of cleaning that we need to do in there on concrete, which will help. The other concept is that's part of that 1.1 is to address the cart storage and the existing building.
And the reason I ask about that is so if we improve what we what we already have, and if we put lifts and things like that, how much maintenance do they do on the gas carts now? Is that a big part of their job, or is that?
I know that would be a better question for Garrett specifically, but I know the older carts that we had obviously came right off of COVID, so there were a lot of wear and tears. More of it was a lot to do with electricity. The gas carts are preferred by the maintenance department. Obviously, it's easier to gas them up and get them rolling. The batteries associated with electric have their concerns associated with it. It's just easier for them right now to continue to stay with gas. As far as repairs related, a lot of repairs aren't really due to the engine. It's more electrical and replacing tires that get popped here and there. But that last batch of carts that we had from EasyGo, it was the switch and the starter on the switch. It was all electrical I think it was all related to the COVID. These new ones that we have, Club Car, that'll be something that I think Garrett can measure, because we're hearing really good things about these carts, and we're locked in for 4 years.
And do they do some of the repairs too? The company?
Yeah, part of our maintenance agreement is that they handle the day-to-day operations, except for flat tires and oil changes.
Okay. And that was discussed as well that with the new carts, if one or two of them go down, like last year, there was 4 carts that didn't even hit the course at all because nobody could get out here to fix them. Now they're local, and Dustin has made that commitment to us that, not this Dustin, but
Learn about your new job.
yeah, sorry, Dustin. And that $2 million you were going to donate to? No. But no, so with the contract for the new carts, part of it was that if a cart goes down, they'll bring one over, take it back to do the repairs if it falls under the guidelines of our contract. So within 24 hours, I think, was the
They've been
thought
really good to work
process.
with.
But obviously, if it's a weekend or whatever, that could change.
We can definitely echo the comments about making parameters for electric cars in the future for whatever we're going to do, especially if you pour concrete. It's easy to put a sleeve in there and put some conduit to be able to connect from both buildings underneath, so we don't have to rip stuff up again. But overall, I think Garrett's pretty happy with this option to address, and again, gives him a building. They've been operating that building since 1992. We just got to make a kind of accommodations for safety and obviously just ergonomically for some of our repairs. And if we have to pull a lot of our carts, mowing equipment over to the park shop during the winter months, we do have more space than we've had in the past to be able to accommodate this for long periods of time if we need to. But overall, I think we do a pretty good job, and I appreciate the efforts that Commissioner Scott has echoed along with Garrett.
Cole, and this is probably more for Dustin and Garrett, for timeline for using the bigger lift and stuff like that. Can you guys get that arranged somehow so you guys aren't tripping over each other?
They do a good job of communicating, and they realize there's going to be priorities at certain times of the year and certain times of the season, and we realize we may not be able to get in there from the golf course side where he's got a priority. But they work well together, and they kind of cooperate. They share equipment today. We've been bringing stuff over there for years. So overall, I don't think the scheduling will be an issue. We actually have 2 overhead lifts now, right? In the old shop and the new shop. For whatever reason, if we need both, we'll be able to handle that. The inconvenience will be is just having to haul equipment back and forth.
Thank you.
One of the things moving forward, I think that, and the board needs to, make this decision, but, we've taken the revenue or profits from the golf courses, and we've reinvested it back in through this vision fund. So that's why we have those dollars in there. So I guess I would ask as we move forward, one, are we going to continue to put money in that vision fund for the golf course? And maybe it's a 2-phase project, or maybe there's something in there that we still need down the road, but to reinvest those vision funds, because like you said, we're going to put another $150,000 in there at some point. That's going to accrue as well and get bigger. So if there's something that maybe isn't fitting right away, but we can make plans for it later, I guess I would be in favor of that. I think golf people come to Mandan to play golf, and if we continually are trying to improve the service we offer, I think so. As you think, there might be more money coming as we allocate those dollars to the golf course. So
That's a good point.
well, I think you talked some people out of doing that. So out of the $4 million, it probably wasn't too difficult. But I guess what are the board's wishes as far as the how we should proceed with that renovation?
Well, I would recommend that we do not proceed with preliminary cost estimates presented for the direct golf operations manager to develop a scope of projects to renovate the existing shop.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Scott,
Second.
second by Commissioner Melhoff.
I got a question.
Any further discussion?
Oh, sorry.
That's right.
Commissioner Scott, do you want to add 150,000 every year to add to that?
I think we could, I'll let Cole go.
Well, I
go
think
ahead.
that's based upon what the profits are, and we've kind of gauged that, if I remember right. What we're going to put.
Yeah,
into
so commissioners, for the last, 4 or 5 years, we've always just had $150,000 that we transfer out each year. We only make the transfer if the funds are available. And so we've been budgeting that for many years. So I think the Vision Fund is something that we set up many years ago, so we understand the importance of that. And just to give you an idea, if we were to move forward with the project, the P&I payment would be about $385,000, which would not allow us to have any dollars going towards the Vision Fund. Again, we would be paying for this improvement 100% through the golf proceeds. So that's why we think it's important to be able to do both, a renovation and put money away for the Vision Fund.
Agreed.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? So you just made it to not proceed.
Correct.
You want a motion to use those dollars for, or do you want to wait until we have a better plan? Probably.
Yeah, I think we've made the motion not to proceed with the project. And then I mentioned how Garrett will put together a scope of services, what he liked, and he would come back at a later date. If he's ready in May or in June is what we'll kind of move forward with.
Okay. All right, motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Moving on to item 4, request for adding full-time employee for the Community Engagement Department. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, President Meschke and Commissioners. I'm here today to request an additional employee in the Community Engagement Department, specifically designated for the front desk and helping recreation and administration staff. This position in the past has been a shared position between the accounting department and the recreation community engagement department. As Cole or Director Higlin shared earlier, the accounting department has restructured, so that's why this need is available for the recreation community engagement department. So I'm here today to answer any questions that you have. In your board packet, the job description is listed along with the fiscal impact.
So this person would serve a dual role in sense somebody would be at that desk when people walk in, but also.
Correct. Yep. It would definitely better our customer service. They'd be the frontline employee. They'd be the person answering the phone calls, managing the walk-in, and also assisting the recreation department in different amenities.
Questions for Kelly?
Kelly, would this person be under you or under Cole?
They would be in the community engagement department underneath myself and Casey Joes.
Okay, thank you. I have one more question, sorry.
Yeah.
How many other people have the ability to help to keep this person busy? I mean, like Dave and some of those other people, or Cole, for as that goes, if they need help, can they ask this person to help?
Definitely. We would like to keep this person as busy as possible, and we really would use this person as a utility employee to just help the park district as a general we all work as a team, and so this person, we definitely look for a team player and want to be able to help different departments out the best that they can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I'll make a motion to move forward with adding a new full-time community engagement specialist to the Park District.
Motion by
second.
Commissioner Melhoff, second by Commissioner Mutter. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Mutter,
Aye.
Commissioner Freilich,
Aye.
Commissioner Melhoff,
Aye.
Commissioner Scott.
Aye.
Yes, from me as well. Thank you, Kelly. It always feels more inviting when somebody's sitting at that front desk. So all right. Item number 5, update on ADA improvements at Starion Sports Complex. Cole.
President and Commissioners, as you know, there are some improvements that are required for us to address our settlement that was presented. There are a few items. I put together an Excel spreadsheet in front of you, kind of a breakdown of where we're at year to date. Again, there's only 2 items that are really a concern for JLGs in relating to the design. As we know, the interpretation of the ADA code is the issue that JLG and the Park District are discussing. And the main one is the Cadillac rink. As we know, we have to add 5 additional ADA spots. The original spot, if we can go to the map, or excuse me, the TV. Having technical difficulties. There we go. So as you know, as you come into the rink and you come through the handrails will be added. This is the original middle of the Cadillac rink where we have the 4 designated ADA spots today. The original plan in the design was to have this glass area as additional ADA seating. You see this very similar at the Civic Center. That is the interpretation of the recreational code. When the issue came with the bleachers on the east side of the football field, it was interpreted by their code is that we had to have 9 of them at the cross of the top of this top shelf. So the idea is to add 3 additional ADA spots with companion seats on this corner and then 2 additional ones on this end, which gives us the total of 9 that is required. That cost estimate is $34,743. That number will be discussed with JLG at a later meeting to discuss those costs for them to be responsible for. Along with the second one is the southern bleachers, the home football field. Zoom down a little bit here. So the home football field, as you know, this first row on each side of the ADA spots, the row is 3 inches too far forward. After many deliberations and discussions, the recommendation is to take that first row and move it back 3 inches. As I mentioned in the email, people sitting in the second row typically have 1 foot 4 inches of foot room. Now you'll have 1 foot 1 inch just in these components where the ADA knockouts are. All of the bleachers over here will not be touched in the first row. So essentially we're just moving that top plate that you sit on back 3 inches, and that will bring us into code. Those are the only 2 items as for JLG that we as the Park District will have future discussions with them as far as reimbursement for those costs. The other items that I'm going to present to you, first one is the Cadillac rink. In the lower level of the Cadillac rink, as you come in on the bottom here, that's that ramp that leads into here. This was put in after the construction of the Starion Sports Complex, which was not part of JLG's
you mean
contract.
the Buick rink?
Sorry, Buick rink.
Okay.
So the Buick rink, excuse me. So these bleachers were added by the Mandan Hockey Club, were not part of the original design. So any of the violations associated with this section has nothing to do with the contract between the Park District and JLG. So when the Mandan Hockey Club put these in 2018, Park District paid $10,000 and the Hockey Club paid $40,000. This section here is in compliance. On the north end, as we refer to it as, this is the walkway from the locker rooms to the Buick rink. There is no ramp for ADA accessibility on this section, along with ADA bump out for companion seats here. So in order to add those 2 bump outs and a ramp here, the estimate that we received about 4 o'clock this afternoon was about $46,200. Since the Mandan Hockey Club put these in, we feel we should split the cost with them. And so our recommendation is to work with the Mandan Hockey Club and get a 50% cost share on this improvement for this section. Again, this section has nothing to do with what JLG designed in the contract. The last component in your packet is the sidewalk out by the football field. So again, this is the drop-off area, as you see, for buses, access to the rink. As you know, when the school district put the bleachers on the east side, which was not part of our contract, that then changed the ADA scope for the sidewalk to get access to the other side. Today, they come through this gate and they use this sidewalk, and then they go around the perimeter of the football field to get to the other side. In order to meet that, this approach right here was 0.7% too high, or 7%, excuse me, too high. And again, that wasn't designed by JLG to be able to provide ADA access to the other side because they weren't part of those bleachers. So our solution with Northwest is to add a concrete sidewalk that does meet the slopes that we need, that there's currently a gate, I believe right here. So that sidewalk then will meet the code to get you down into here, which would eliminate a ticket booth here, and we move the ticket booth up into here. So that addresses that. Like as I mentioned, some of these violations that were discussed really weren't part of the original contract. They were added by some of our user groups after the construction, which, as we've mentioned now, as we work with these user groups, that we have to be able to make sure that when these things are being installed, that we're meeting the code to prevent things like this. So before you, again, our motion back in December when we met is we did set aside $50,000 just in case we had to make some improvements and not bring it before the board, but the motion was anything over $15,000 required board approval to proceed. So I'm here tonight to ask for approval on the Northwest contracting for the Cadillac rink in the amount of $34,743, and then also the Buick rink in the amount of $46,200, but to be shared 50% from the Mandan Hockey Club. And the rest are under the $15,000 dollar amount that we'll be able to proceed with.
Cole, you said the original bleachers in the Buick rink were $50,000 total?
Yeah, so in 2018, when we put these in, they were $50,000 for all of them. We did get a quote just to replace this section, and we were told 2 times the price to renovate. So since 2018, the cost has tripled for all of these bleachers.
Okay.
Now, we wanted to see what that cost would be. That's the holdup on the east side of the football field. Those bleachers that were relocated from Ferris Field by Mandan Public Schools, I don't know exactly the age of those, but they've been down there for quite a while. We're going to get a quote to either get a whole new set and then compare it with what a retrofit would be to meet the standards, because there is no ramp when those bleachers were put in.
And Cole, we also have the visitors bleachers on the field that we haven't got any quotes
That's the
for
one we're
yet.
waiting on. Yeah,
Yeah.
he hasn't got that back to us. I was hoping I'd have it today, but that's
that-
the one he's really worried about is the cost for that, and then just retrofitting. So we're hoping that we can get a cost to retrofit, see what that number is, and we may have to look at acquiring new bleachers.
And was that the only area that we had talked with the school district about using our joint powers agreement money, or were we going to use it for some of these other things too?
Anything on the football field stadium area, so the sidewalks, the home side, and the visitor side, all would be eligible for the joint fund. Yep.
So when we get, like, the sidewalk, do we get a construction permit to do that? Are we required to do that?
We are required to get a city permit for construction, and that's the contract.
I'm not trying to point fingers or anything. I'm just asking questions. So, and they need to sign off on, typically, they need to sign off that it meets all these
So
requirements?
in order to get our occupancy permit,
Okay.
that the city
Okay.
inspector is required to go through the building along with the fire marshal and along with our architect that went through there.
So to prevent something like this happening again, do we need to involve another entity to make sure that we're not going backwards and redoing some of this?
I honestly think the situation with the bleachers on the east side, when the school had them relocated and didn't put the ramp up, that just kick-started, I guess I want to use the micro management of every little percentage
Okay.
of an inch here, an inch there. I think the only way you'd get around it is if you made sure there was an ADA audit with any architectural design. So you're going to pay for it, of course, but I think that would be the only way that you would be able to. I mean, think about the bleacher, the restroom handles were 1 inch too high, or the mirrors were 2 inches. Well, they went off the male code for ADA, not the female code. Minor detail, obviously, and it's important, but
Yeah.
those little inches, are a reason why we're having these discussions today.
guess I'm just trying to prevent this from happening again if we
So
can.
I did
And
shoot
I think
all of
everybody wants that here. I don't,
Correct. All of these plans were sent to the DOJ in Fargo. I spoke with her on Friday. I did talk to her or left her voicemail this afternoon. She shot me an email saying she confirms with all of the plans that are being presented, but defers to an architect to make sure that they are in compliance. So we're all delegating our responsibilities, and that's kind of why we're here today, is the architect interpreted the ADA code one way, they're interpreting it in a different way. We had to come to a settlement. So the good thing is we're going to address it.
Yep.
There are some concerns with timelines on the Cadillac rink. That glazed glass that we have currently, we want to match that aesthetically, is anywhere from 3 to 6 months for deliverables to get that out. So that's why we wanted to bring that here before. Again, we have until August of 26 to have everything addressed. We'll be way ahead of that schedule.
so you want a motion for the Buick rink and the Cadillac rink renovations tonight to get going so we can order those types of things? Okay. Any other questions for Cole?
Cole, you want us to make a motion before you talk to the Hockey Booster Club? And
I think the motion needs to be part of this. Again, those bleachers were paid for and selected by the Mandan Hockey Club. We signed off that we support the project, but we want to partner with them 50-50 on the cost.
okay,
And we've had preliminary discussions with them. And I know Dave reached out to their board president today to just share that feeling that we would be talking about that here today.
okay, thank you.
Anything else for Cole?
Cole, do you need two separate?
I mean, you can make it all in one motion to approve the items as presented and then to request the Mandan Hockey Club for partnership in the Buick rink.
So I would recommend the approval of the Northwest Contracting bid to address the ADA requirements in the Cadillac rink, as well as the shared costs of the Buick ADA improvements needed.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Scott, second by Commissioner Melhoff. And you said these are just estimates, right? We're still,
No, these are the quotes,
Okay,
estimates that we
these are-
receive for
okay.
completion. So
Okay.
once they're approved,
so
we'll
these
sign
are
off
these
tonight
are
and
good to
get those
go.
rolling.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Does this board need to say that it's, for the Buick rink, it needs to be 50% or not?
I just thought shared cost, that way if it's less, it's less, and if it's, I guess, 50% would be a max in my opinion, but
I mean, I think
I can add that to the motion if you'd prefer.
so. While we're having discussion, Cole, if we did nothing to the Buick rink, please tell us what would happen.
Well, we did ask that question to DOJ out of Fargo, and we said, what happens if the cost is just too extreme where we can't address it? Can we take that section out? The answer was no. So we put them in to address the needs for seating. We've had them in there since 2018, and now we're being told that whatever we do, we'd have to retrofit them to meet the code. We can't just take them out and put nothing there.
So what would happen though? I guess that, I mean, if I think there's a fine, correct? A very hefty fine.
I
if
hate
we-
to speculate what that would be, but I would assume.
Okay, I thought we talked about that once, but occupancy is checked on once a year. I mean, would we be given an occupancy permit if?
Occupancy.
Well, you
no.
said we're given an occupancy.
Only
permit.
when you open the
It's just
facility
they don't
after
come and
construction.
reassess
No.
when you remodel or do anything
Correct.
like that. Okay.
And that's what happens when the school brought those extra set of bleachers in.
Mm-hmm.
It changed the occupancy code for ADA, and then
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Okay, any further discussion or questions? I guess motion passes, then Cole or you or Dave will be negotiating with the hockey club. Okay,
we've already committed, or Dave's already reached out to them this afternoon.
okay. Okay, roll call vote. Commissioner Scott,
Aye.
Commissioner Melhoff,
Aye.
Commissioner Freilich,
Aye.
Commissioner Mutter.
Aye.
Yes, from me as well. Motion carries. Moving on to item 6, proposal for more engineering to assess all parking lot and trail conditions.
President Meskey and Commissioners, in the 25 budget, I had set aside $25,000 from engineering fees to kind of address some needs. Each year, we always have something that pops up that we couldn't plan for during our budget process. But this one, we actually had talked about for many years about doing an assessment on all of our parking lots that are asphalt, along with all of our trails throughout the district, and kind of put together a capital replacement plan for deferred maintenance to determine what kind of condition they're in. They do it for the city of Mandan here today and gives them an idea where all the city streets are at. They'll take core samples. They'll tell us if we need to do a complete reconstruction or just a mill overlay, or maybe just something else. I think it's called fogging, where they put the black material down on there to kind of freshen the asphalt, which we did at Prairie West. I think we did at Raging Rivers, and that might have been the only two that I think we did at this time. But the reality is, as we've grown with our facilities, we have a lot more deferred maintenance associated with the asphalt. And so I think it will help us with our trail grants. And then, as we mentioned at Prairie West, that parking lot, we talked about adding in that island when you drive into the facility. But that parking lot, we know, needs to be milled and overlaid. Might even need some additional engineered fill underneath it. But we'd like to just be able to do that assessment. And then the next parking lot is the All Seasons Arena. As we know, that property is going to become ours. It's currently school district property, and then as it converts over to the park district, that parking lot is in need of repair already today. What's going to happen after we get through the process of the demolition of the old high school and our site and our property lines get set dedicated? So the reality here would be is to spend the dollars to give us the information that we need so that we can build it into our strategic plan and into our budget process, so that we know we can kind of get these replaced. One thing at the park district we have not done, and we do have the ability to do that, is to create an improvement district. And we've worked with improvement districts with the city of Mandan. We did that on south by our ball fields in the Mandan Municipal, is they created an improvement district and then included our improvement district, or our improvements to our parking lots and accesses to our facilities. Once we have this data, would be able to create an improvement district and special assess that back to the park district and get on a rotation. A lot of larger park districts, when I reached out to Bismarck and along with Fargo, what they do is they have a 5-year rotation where they do an improvement district where they're addressing them all at one time. And I think we've got to the point where our facilities, we got a lot of facilities, we've started adding staff, equipment, just expansion that we've been doing. We got to stay on top of those deferred maintenance issues related to parking lots. The trails are doing pretty well, but we're just making this part of the overall study.
So when you say a 5-year rotation, they do everything on year one and then they wait 5 years and then address the next priority needs.
And some could be just a mill overlay, crack sealing. Some could be a full reconstruction. Just really depends on the age and I think the condition of them. Like, we got some trails in our system that are 20 plus years old in really good condition. We got some that are 8 to 10 years old that the quality of the asphalt that we got just isn't holding up, or it's the subsurface too. So we have over, 30 miles of trail we're roughly at. And then obviously all the facilities that we have, and we've added on tennis, Starion. We may look at adding some additional parking lots for some of our smaller parks that don't have it today, or gravel areas, specifically Lions and Legion. Yeah.
And will they give you will they customize it if we want a 5-year plan, or or is that up to us to look at?
We can request that. I think what they'll do is they'll put it in some type of capital order as far as poor condition to good condition, and we'll be able to reallocate that and determine what steps we want to do. But as far as the improvement district, that'll something we'll have to build into a budget. Again, to do an improvement district, you got to have the hearing, 60-day notice, take any feedback from the public, and then we bond for that and then assess ourselves back. But it's a great way to be able to address the needs.
President Meskey, I recuse myself from this item due to a conflict of interest.
Obviously, Dustin, you can probably tell when something needs done, but as far as core samples and things like that, we do need some. I mean, that's what they're going to provide for us. That's going to.
Right. We can look at the surface and tell it's cracked, and we can crack seal, but we don't know what it looks like or what it's below the parking lot. We've got some parking lots and trails, like Cole said, that are rock solid. We have some that are fairly new, like the tennis center that's developed 2 large cracks running north to south. They're going to tell us what shape and longevity of our parking lots and our trails.
Okay.
We're applying for grants, for trail reconstruction, and what we thought, like the trail from Sunset to Collins, at one time we thought was going to be a mill and overlay, and that was a total reconstruction when they got into it.
Okay. Board's wishes.
I recommend approval to hire more engineering to assess all our parking lots and trails in the amount of $25,000.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Mutter,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Freilich. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Commissioner Mutter,
Aye.
Commissioner Freilich,
Aye.
Commissioner Scott.
Aye.
Aye from me as well. Motion carries. Authorization to pay our monthly bills. Get a motion to do that.
I'll make a motion to authorize payment of monthly bills.
Motion by Commissioner Freilich,
Second.
second by Commissioner Scott. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. And item number 8, Commissioner Staff Reports. Anything to add?
Yep, just one more component. So I mentioned in the email when I sent out the board packet that we do have 2 developers who are looking at trying to dedicate some green space to us. So once we have a chance, I know it's been emailed out to Commissioner Freilich and Park Operations Manager Fleck. At some point, we're going to have a discussion internally about what we want to do. Some of the land has some topography issues, but we are being reassured by the developer that it would get leveled and be suitable parkland for us. One is south along 19th Street, on the south side of 19th Street out by Fort Lincoln, and the other one's on 1806 North. I think it's called the Seven Winds Development. So that both properties have an opportunity for us to get some land dedicated, but they both have some hurdles associated with them, whether it's utility easements or topography. We got to work through all those nuances to make that determination, but this is like the first step of what our green space ordinance would be dedicated in land to us. So it's that baby steps that we're taking here right now.
This is the first time we're seeing from that new ordinance at the
Correct.
city. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Kelly? Dustin?
Looks like one more cold night tonight, and then we're going to start firing water in our restrooms, baseball, soccer, softball. We'll get that done. Start that this week, so we can get inside, get our concession stands open, especially at baseball. Putting down crabgrass preventer this week, so hopefully we'll get ahead of that, and then on with irrigation. Thankful to get a little bit of rain, but we need to get some moisture on our fields and our parks. So,
Commissioner Mutter?
Well, since Kelly's here and she didn't want to say anything, I want to thank her for the newsletter. I noticed it's got a click rate up a little bit. I don't know if you guys noticed that. And also the app is up to over 1,000. So thank you, Kelly, for taking care of that.
Commissioner Freilich?
I got nothing.
Commissioner Melhoff?
I was going to say no report, but you brought up the app, and I did rent a couple shelters with it this weekend, so it works.
Commissioner Scott?
Obviously, golf has kind of been up and down. The weather has been playing games with us a little bit, but those first few days, the tee times were gone in like less than 10 minutes for the entire days that they were available. And once again, it's a pride factor that we were the first public golf course in Bismarck, Mandan to be open, Prairie West. And actually, Muni opened on the same day as the others, but we were using it a few days ahead of time for the high school and middle school golf teams. So definitely proud of our staff for getting the courses ready to roll.
Thank you. Future meeting dates for Park Board Commissioners, April 16th, DCP Advisory Board meeting at Park Administration Building at noon. May 12th will be our next regularly scheduled Park Board meeting here at 5:30 City Hall. And then May 15th, if you haven't been down, go check out the boat ramp. There'll be a ribbon cutting ceremony at 3 o'clock at Car Body Boat Ramp. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Scott,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Freilich. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.